Good morning, good evening. Welcome everyone to the Saturday Sangha. I'm John, I'm speaking to you from Damascus, Oregon.
I'm Denise from Damascus, Oregon.
Good evening from Nepal, and welcome everyone in India where it's also evening. Jai Gurudev.
And good morning from Claudia in Damascus. Welcome to the Sangha.
Good morning, everyone. Tell us where you're joining from. This is Shauna in Oregon. So hi, Paul in Texas and Martin in Florida. Hello. Rajan Ranju, Namaskar, Jai Gurudev, Rosanna in Italy. Hello, and hi, Chella. And we have Susan in Tucson, and hello, Paul in North Carolina, and Troy in Virginia, and hi, Brenda in Canada. And we have Lawrence Jai Gurudev in Colorado. Hello. Nick in Baltimore, and good morning, Bruce in Cleveland, and Daniel in Oakland, and Amit in Austin, Texas, and Namaskar Vijay, and we have Tej and Raj. So good to have you. Namaskar. Archana, hello, you're still in Mumbai. And we have Annie in Fresno. Hi, Annie, on your own. Wonderful. Akriti, hello in Ohio, and Vivian Jai Gurudev, and Amit in Atlanta. And I'm going to go through the names now as we have many coming through. Kanwal, Karen, Alexander, Ragini, Patricia, beautiful email that you sent us, Patricia. Thank you. Steve, another Steven in San Diego, Linda, Jennifer, Justine, Ashok, Leanne at 2 in the morning in Byron Bay, and many, many more names. Hi, Nan. Good to have all of you. And now the Agora mantra is going to be chanted.
Agorebhyo, Tagorebhyo, Gora Gora Tari Besta, Sarvata Sharva Sarvebhyo, Namaste Rudradapebhya. Agorebhyo, Tagorebhyo, Gora Gora Tari Besta, Sarvata Sharva Sarvebhyo, Namaste Rudradapebhya. Agorebhyo, Tagorebhyo, Gora Gora Tari Besta, Sarvata Sharva Sarvebhyo, Namaste Rudradapebhya.
O Lord Shiva, you alone transform yourself into all forms, into the forms of the powers of Rudra as Agora, the enlightening and uplifting energy, Gora Tari, the frightful darkening energy which pushes one down, and Gora, the energy which keeps one fixed, neither rising or falling. These forms embodied in Rudra Shiva are helpful to aspirants while they are aware, and frightful for the ones who are ignorant, pushing them down and down.
We're going to meditate together for the next 10 minutes. And if you have your own practice, practice that or join me in whatever way. Find your seat, sit up tall. Sit comfortably with your spine nice and straight, shoulders relaxed. Start to gaze at a space below you where your eyes are relaxed. Moving into this practice again, each time with a freshness, with a beginner's mind. As you bring your awareness to the natural flow of breath, noticing the inhale and noticing the exhale, be here for a few breaths. And then starting to notice the 4 parts of the breath. The inhale, the pause, the exhale, and the pause. Rest here for a few breaths, just feeling into the rhythm. And as you inhale, bring awareness to the space between the two eyebrows. And as you exhale, gently rest in the pause at the end of the exhale, continuing like this. Inhale, awareness at the space between the eyebrows. And exhale, resting in the pause. And carrying this turning point throughout the practice. And if thoughts arise, simply observe them and then return to the breath. Continue. slowly surfacing from your practice. And just sitting here for the next minute. As you arrive back into your body. George, you were going to share with us something important about today, this time of the year.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, today's actually a really important day in our tradition because it's the auspicious day of the Maha Samadhi of Swami Ram, Swamiji's grandmaster. And actually, he left this body in 1915, which is 110 years ago. But every year since then, this ceremony is done. Each year, Swamiji would go to Swami Ram's ashram on this particular day along with devotees, pay his respects, and many of you will remember that when we had our celebration in Kashmir, many of you went to Swami Ram's ashram, and we basically filled the whole room. There was standing room only, and today Diego and Fernando, who are usually on our thing, they sent me. I requested them to send me a small clip of the puja that they did there today at Swami Ram's ashram. So Claudia's going to play just 2 minutes of that clip, and it ends with the last verse of the Bhairava Stotra, which we recite every week with the puja, and then 2 extra verses, which will be a little unusual, but they're verses that were added later on, one from Swami Vivekananda and one from Swami Ram. So quite appropriate to have the darshan today of that. Shri Krishna Dashayana Abhinava Gupta Savame Mama Karutyena Vibhur Bhava Santapa Shamayati Jati Jana Sedayalu Harireva Jagadeva Harito Jagato Nahi Binnam Anoyitiya Samate Paramatagati Sanaro Pavasa Dharmotarati Adavanti Chidarasarupam Madhya Chidarasa Buddha Buddha Rupam Bhatam Bhatam Varupam Nom Bhatam Chitranasaya.
Beautiful.
And that it used to, when the Havan was on, that would go for about 4 or 5 hours. And when we do Swami Ram's, Swamiji's Havan, of course, we know it goes for like 5 or 6 hours. And, Swamiji used to say, no matter where you are in the world, you don't have to do something elaborate, but this is a time, this 2-week period of which we're now on the 14th day. Tomorrow's the 15th day, which is the end of what's called Pitru Paksh, the fortnight of your deceased ancestors. And Swamiji used to say that at that time, it's good to remember your ancestors in whichever way, comes up. So on the 15th day, which is tomorrow, it's called Mahalaya. It's the final day of this 2 weeks. All your ancestors can be remembered, irrespective of when you think that they have passed away or not. And I'm going to share my screen for a moment. Okay, so this was today. Tell me when you can see the screen.
We can see it.
So today, of course, was Swami Ram's Havan. This is a picture of Swami Ram with Swamiji's parents. And Claudia asked before, what were all the flowers before and what were they on the floor? These things, he said, are they cakes? No, they're sandals. They're wooden sandals, symbolic of what Swami Ram wore. And in Swami Ram's case, we know that his grandmaster was Swami Manakak, and Swamiji never really mentioned who was the great grandmaster there. But these are for Swami Ram, Swami Manakak, and others. And when we do Swamiji's Havan, we always remember three lines of masters. For instance, I did a small puja today for Swami Ram, just very simple. This is on top of my laptop with a candle, with a stick of incense, a flower for each, and Swami Ram, Swami Manakak, and Swamiji. And it just felt very nice because Swamiji said that, you just have to sit quietly and do, whatever feels right for you. If you don't know any puja, that's okay. Now, tomorrow being what's called the Mahalaya for all deceased relatives, it's good for us to be able to remember any of our people who have passed away, our direct relatives or loved ones. And it's very, very simple. Swamiji never made it elaborate because in India, for Kashmiris and for everybody else, they can do a very elaborate shraddha, which is shraddha they're remembering. But Swamiji made everything very easy for us. He said, if you don't know any mantras or anything, just sit quietly, have a photograph of those people if you have, and have some item that they like, and sit down, have a meditation, do any mantras that you like, any verses, and then talk to them. He said, because wherever they are in this world, even if they've been reborn, they get a message that someone is thinking of them. And he said, and for them, it's a great relief because the time in the other world is very different to here. Our year is only one day. Our year is only one day. So my mother passed away 10 years ago, 12 years ago, but it's actually only 12 days for her, wherever she is in this world. And what I do on that day is I simply have a picture of my mother and father and my sister and my eldest brother, and my sister has also passed away. So it's as simple as that. And this is tomorrow on Sunday, because that's the main day. And it also happens tomorrow is actually the day of my father's Shraddha. And it just feels really nice just to sit. And for my, Swamiji said to have something that they like. So for my mother, I have a cup of tea. For my father, a cup of coffee. And for my sister, a can of Coca-Cola. Although it's hard to get Coca-Cola in the can here, but a bottle, I'm sure she would forgive me. And I just sit quietly and speak to them, and with Swamiji's blessing, as he said, they get the message, they get your blessing, and they also give a blessing to you. And you could have as many pictures of people that you remember, close friends, but your relatives are important. And if you remember your father, mother, grandfather, grandmother, and even great-grandfather, grandmother, then it's really nice. But nothing formal, just very, very simple, program. Oh, this is something that I always have up for my mother because this was in our house. Jesus was my mother's guru until she got initiated into Kashmir Shaivism. And she read this prayer every morning in our house. So from the time that she had that till we were kids, we always saw this picture hanging up in a prominent position in our house. So this is just to give you all an idea of this whole idea of Shraddha, remembering our ancestors. Christians have All Souls Day. Every tradition has a day when, at least once in the year for some period of time, you remember the departed. Okay, I'll stop sharing my screen. And
Thank you, George. That was perfect.
Yes.
Now
yes,
we have
and
that for yearly, yeah.
there have been many people that have been doing this now for a number of years since we mentioned it, and it really, really has an amazing effect on some people because, let's face it, for many of us, we have never thought of those people. When I first did this for my grandparents, I realized I had never thought of those for 40 years. And the whole house was filled with a really beautiful sweetness. So there it is. And you might have some questions and things like that. That's okay. You can put them in the Dropbox or in our question Q&A. Yeah. And now, anything you'd like to say, Denise, John, Shana?
We do forget our loved ones who have passed away, and it's so nice to hear you reminding us, that they're still there. We can connect with them and love them, and we'll see them one day. That's for sure.
Yes. And it's Sunday for everybody else in the world. It's Sunday for India, and this year it's the same day for wherever you are in the world. And Swamiji did say that the time to do it is from midday right through till sunset. Not after sunset, but from midday through. And he said closer to midday is very good. That's a time when the heavens are more open. So yeah, up to everybody what they do, and it definitely doesn't have to be any formal ceremony or anything like that. It's just something, at first I didn't know what to do, and I used to just sit and I would talk to my parents, and it felt really good. And then, like Denise just said, it's good to remember. And once somebody asked Swamiji, why do we remember 3 generations, like 3 generations of masters and 3 generations of our ancestors? And he gave a kind of a cryptic answer, but later on he said that when you leave this world, for good souls, you have 3 generations of your ancestors come to meet you and to take you to your next destination. If you haven't thought of them for all of your lifetime, they may give you a bit of a not a thrashing, but they'll say, why didn't you remember me? But they're always very kind, he said, and they know their job. They've been living in different places, and they escort you. Your ancestors escort you on that 1 year journey, which is one day for them, 1 year for us, till they reach their designated loka, for them to prepare for either being reborn or, if they're great yogis, being liberated. More than that, I cannot say.
That was perfect, George. It's exactly what we're asking for. So thank you for that. I have a few questions before we go into the Shiva Sutras, just a few. So Akriti says, or asks, my parents' Shraddha was this week, and I recited the Bharupa Garbha Stotra on both days. Was that correct?
Absolutely. Yes. In fact, nothing could be better than reciting that, because Swachanda Bhairava is in charge of all karma. He's not only in charge of the karma when we're in this world, but he's also in charge of our karma in between lifetimes. So yeah, if you have the copy of the Bharupa Garbha Stotra, which is on the website, yeah, absolutely do that and think of your parents.
And then 2 more, just short ones. Barbara says, is it necessary to have a photograph and other items? Is it possible to do Shraddha only with one's mind?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no strict rule for us, I mean, people do elaborate ones, as I said, but there's no strict rule, because just the thought gets to your ancestors, and sometimes people do these elaborate pujas, and only at the end do they remember them. And of course, their ancestors are up there tapping on the table and say, when are they going to think of me? So the important point is to connect with them. That connection is really a sweet, sweet thing. And you can connect with them. You can talk to them. You can say, if you had a problem with somebody, you can say sorry. You can apologize for somebody that you didn't, anything like that you feel comes to your heart, You can do it. And I've told this to many, many people. And some people say, I sat down to do it and I ended up in tears for like 20 minutes because the room was so vibrant. So anything's possible.
That's it. Anything's possible. So true. I love that. Last piece before we go to Shiva Sutras. Peter said that tomorrow is a solar eclipse. Just wanted to share. I didn't know that.
Yes. And in a solar eclipse, it's good, Swamiji says that. Wasn't it, Denise, not to be outside during solar eclipse?
Yes, to sit inside and meditate.
Yes, sit inside and meditate. So it's a double auspicious day.
Okay, Shiva Sutras it is. Thank you.
Okay, so back to business. Sorry to say that. So last week we finished the first part of Sutra 41, where Swamiji explained what happens to a yogi when the grace of Lord Shiva is infused in his awareness. And now these whatever we get through in this session, because we've spent some time already, the rest of this sutra that we're going to play first is very interesting, because he says that after this is achieved, this is what happens is the yogi gets established in that timeless moment, which is found in the junction point between two breaths, or the junction point between two steps, or between any two actions. So Claudia, let's hear Swamiji.
Nirasya sadasatvriti samshritya padam antaram vihai kalpana jalam advaitena paraparam. These states which are existing and states which are not existing, you should avoid them. Avoid these two states, existing and non-existent states. Hold that state which is internally established in your own nature. Samshritya padam antaram vihai kalpana jalam. And remove away all these classes of kalpanas, imaginations, by putting Advaita, by putting oneness of one God consciousness. Put your consciousness in the present. Present, yes. Yes, Swatmanirato Nityam Kalagrasaik Tatpara Kaivalya Padavak Yogi Sa Nirvana Padam Lave. That person who is established in his own nature always, Nityam, and Kalagrasaik Tatpara, who is bent upon destroying the sphere of time. Kal does not mean death. He wants to destroy the sphere of time by putting consciousness on the timeless point. Timeless point is found between two breaths. Timeless point is found between one step and another step, one talk and another talk, one word and another word. In between there is timeless point. That is called a grasaika tattva. When your consciousness is bent upon finding out that point, then you are said to be called a grasa tattva. You are bent upon destroying the sphere of time. So in near future there will be no time existing for you. Kaivalya Padavak Yogi. So that yogi is established in that final beatitude of God consciousness. And so Nirvana Padam Lavet, he achieves that state of Nirvana, moksha, final liberation. Kaivalya Padabhak. In this shloka, what is the meaning of Kaivalya Padabhak? Final liberation. Yendrai Tanmatra Bir Asamvaya. He does not become the object of being carried. He becomes carrier. He carries everyone, he is not carried by anybody from one state to another state.
Are you there, John?
Dad,
Yes,
you
I
have to
am.
unmute yourself.
Say it again. Go ahead.
He's a doer, he's not done anymore. Otherwise, in your limited life, you're always done. You're not actually acting, you're acted. Lord Shiva's the actor, and so bring through that timeless point, through that state of Turiya, that state, the highest state, you become the doer. In the background, you're always the doer, but actually in the world of limited world that we live in, we're not the doer. Although we think we are, but we're not.
It's interesting how at the end of the day, when you're really tired, people said, "How are you?" You say, "I'm completely done," which is true. I've been completely done.
So we have a question here from
Yeah.
Paul. Paul says, please expound on the comment at the end of 3.41. This theory of yours is incorrect. Who is saying this?
He said,
Yeah, I don't remember that myself, but
no, there wasn't anything that he said in today's.
he said in
about
3.41. So that was today's.
At the end of that.
Yeah. Of the book. That's what Paul just said. Of the book. Huh. Interesting. Well, we can look into that.
Yes, the book is different from. There are places where the book is different from the original audio. Sorry about that. Yeah.
We'll have to look into that and find out what that is, because at this moment, no idea, Paul. Should we go on the second part of Swamiji's?
Yeah, because now this is a very interesting part, because he talks about now how in this sutra, how for this yogi, how does he function in the world? And there's this beautiful thing about how he wears his body just like a sheath, like a blanket, like he's covered, this kanchuka, he's covered with that. This Bhuta kanchuka means he's covered by the 5 elements. And he'll use the example of putting your glasses inside your glasses case, and then in the end he'll use it as how you put a sword inside a sheath and you take the sword out, and the sword is completely separate from the sheath. This yogi feels completely separate from his own body. So Claudia.
Natu, there is Natu. In place of Natu, there must be Nanu. Nanu evam jiva sankhya sati asya dehapata prafta. Nacha asau suprabdasyapi dehina sadyev drishyate tat katham ayam tadarud pramiti. This is question. The question is here, when this way his individuality is destroyed, individuality is dissolved. Asya dehapatah prafta. There is time for him to leave the physical body. He must leave the physical body at that very moment. As soon as that individuality is finished, the existence of his physical body must also finish side by side. He must not live in this physical body. Nacha asau supradasyapi dehina sadyev drashiti. But this living physical body is not experienced by us. They are still maintaining that physical body after the realization of God consciousness. So they don't leave that physical body so soon. Tat katham ayam tadarud pramiti. So how can we say that he is established in God consciousness? He cannot be established in God consciousness because he is living in this physical body, which is filled with individuality all round. Sometimes spit, sometimes nose trouble, sometimes headache, sometimes stomach ache, sometimes backache. This business is of individual. This is not business of God. So this theory of yours is incorrect. For that he puts now answer. Bhuta kanchaki tada vimukto bhuya pati samapara. He is said to be Bhuta kanchaki. His physical frame is maintained only outwardly, not in his own internal consciousness. From his internal consciousness point of view, he has no physical body. He is above physical body. So he is Bhuta kanchaki. These 5 elements are just like covering for him. He does not insert ego in that. He does not insert I consciousness in that. He does not say that I am this body. This is physical frame. Let it be. Let it remain like this. What to me? So he is said to be Bhuta Kanchaki. But at that moment he is Vimukta, absolutely liberated from the pangs of repeated births and deaths. He is Mukta, liberated. Bhuya Patisamah Para. And he is Patisamah just like Lord Shiva and supreme. Just like Lord Shiva, and in course of time when he leaves this physical frame also, he becomes one with Lord Shiva. Previously we have discussed that. Tada means abhilashi khayat, when all desires disappear in him. Jiva sankhya, this destruction of jiva bhava, the state of jiva. What is that? Purishtaka pramatrita abhimani vigalane sati. When his I consciousness on this physical body disappears. I am Bhuta Kanchaki. He is said to be Bhuta Kanchaki. He is not Bhuta Dharin. He is not holding 5 elements. 5 elements is covering for him. Where is my specs? Just like this. I am this. This is physical body. I can take it off any time I like. This is Bhuta Kanchaki. In the same way, this body is just like a case for him, covering. He does not insert his I consciousness in that body. So he is absolutely free from that covering. And he is Vimukta, and he is actually just like Lord Shiva and supreme. I am Bhuta Kanchaki. Shri
Claudia, you can continue just because it just follows on directly.
Kanchaki. Sharir Arambini Bhutani Kanchukobnyava Vyatirikhtam Pravarnamyava. Natu Ahanta Pad Sparshini Yasya. For him, this physical frame is just like a different covering. Pravarnamyava. Just like a blanket, just like some covering. Natu Ahanta Pad Sparshini. Not like us, just as we do for our physical body, we insert I consciousness in that this is my body. This is me. I go to some doctor, please see my pulse. But I have no pulse. In fact, if you go in true sense, I have no pulse. Pulse is for body. I say to doctor, I see my pulse. I don't feel well. But body is unwell. I am always I am always same.
Just like God.
Yes, just like God. Tathabhuta san vimukta. And so he is said to be vimukta, absolutely liberated. Nirvana bhak. Nirvana, one with nirvana. Yato bhuya bahulyena patsama. He is said to be exactly same as Lord Shiva. Chidgana Parameshwar Sarup Avishta. He has entered in the state of supreme God consciousness. Tatyeva Para. So he is supreme. Supreme or full, complete. Sharir Vritir Vratam. This previous sutra, in which we explained Dal Kalpe Dehadav Sthitopi. His body is just like dal. Dal means myan. What is called myan? That sheath in which we put sword. Like that his body exists. Na tat pramadrita samskarinapi sprashta. But he does not infuse his I consciousness in that sheath. Sword is sword and sheath is sheath, separate from it. Taduktam Sri Kulratnamala. It is said in Kulratnamala Tantra. Yada Guruvara Samyak Kathayet Tatna Samshaya Muktastena eva Kalena Yantrastishtati Kevalam. When Supreme Master reveals you that supreme thing, Kathayet, reveals you that supreme thing. Muktastena eva Kalena. From that very moment, he is said to be liberated, absolutely liberated. Yantrastishtati kevalam. His remaining portion of his life is just like yantra, just like a machine. He lives like a machine afterwards, without any awareness of that living. He is centralized in his God consciousness for eternity afterwards. So his existence of body is just like a machine, nothing else.
We sing that in the puja, don't we? I am not this body is not mine. This attachment to the body is hard to imagine not being attached to the body.
Also, it should be pointed out that when he says he lives like a machine, he's not like your lawnmower or your washing machine. He feels that he's full of bliss. He's full of universal ananda, universal bliss, but completely separate from the idea of his limited life that happened before that. That's why Swamiji said that the first moment, and that is always there in the background, the first moment, he said, anybody gets that state of complete enlightenment, they realize it was never absent, it was always there. And the sign of that, when somebody asks, how does a person know that? Swamiji said, oh my gosh, he said, you feel it, you feel that bliss because it's overwhelming. You're intoxicated by that. So that idea can be very mistaken very easily, that he lives like a machine or she lives like a machine, doesn't mean it in the sense how we often think of that.
Yeah. Yes, it's the whole of the Prakriti, is a machine. All the objective world, the material world is a machine, is filled with karma, is acted by karma and the push of karma. And so when you're tied up with that and you think that's your body, then you're tied up in that karma. You become, I am my body, I feel sad, I feel happy. You identify with all those limited activities. And that's just, that machine means that's the karma. That's the karma that motivates and drives that machine, which is our Prakriti. The world of our mind, buddhi, ahamkara, and that mind, the five mantras, the five karma indriyas, the 9 jnana indriyas, all the aspects of our body, physical body and psychic body, all the body, all the aspects.
Also, Paul's question was answered in this one. If you remember, Paul was asking about just before verse 42 in the book. And Swamiji said, so this theory of yours is incorrect. So this is the business of God consciousness, not individual consciousness. Because that was the question. They were saying that when he leaves his body, or when he gets liberated, he should leave his body that very moment. But at that point, that leaving the body or not is not up to the limited individual. It's up to Lord Shiva, who is one with that yogi or yogini who has reached that highest pinnacle. So there must be questions.
So Roxana wants to know, how about the Puriyashtika, subtle body and attachment?
That's what we've just been talking about. That's part of the machine of karma, the subtle body, physical body, the material body, all aspects of the world that we live in, the changing world that we identify with, which we are identifying with right now as we sit here. But that world, that world is not actually who we are. And so, as I say, we sing that on our puja. I am not this body is not mine.
And the Puri-Astaka means, we've said this many times, Puriya means city and Ashtaka means 8. It's the city of 8. And the Puri-Astaka is your intellect, ego and mind, plus what's called the 5 tanmatras, your senses of sight, hearing, taste, touch and smell. And just like John said, that subtle body is there. The Puri-Astaka carries the software for our life. You know, and I used to always remember it when I first said it, because before the days that we had computers or the early computers, it was like your CD, like your disc that you'd put in to your computer, which was just dead. And when you put the software in, it came alive. So the Puri-Astaka is what travels from one life to the next, one life to the next, one life to the next. And we actually designate what software we're bringing into this life, believe it or not. Everything that happens to us, we determined what we needed in this lifetime for the benefit of our own evolution.
It's all about us, isn't it? In that way.
So then Patricia says, how does this reconcile with non-duality's emphasis on embodiment? How does this reconcile with non-duality's emphasis on embodiment?
Well, you have to really clarify what that means by embodiment, you know, because non-duality, one of the theories of non-duality or quantum physics is entanglement. And the real entanglement is the entanglement or the Sangata, the entanglement between Shiva and Shakti. And the embodiment is when Shiva and Shakti flow down into the world, they flow down into us as individuals, but the totality of that is the body of the universe. It's universal body. So, I don't fully understand the question. Maybe John can say something, but embodiment,
I also don't completely understand the question.
yeah, me too, but I did my best.
So Barbara wants to know, do you need to have a body to feel the bliss? And is it through the body that you feel the bliss? Great question.
I think the fact is that you are the bliss.
Yes. Beautiful.
Well said, John Hughes.
Yeah, because in the state of samadhi, Swamiji said that internal state of samadhi, when it gets to its pinnacle, you feel infinite, unbounded bliss, although you're not even aware of your body at that time. So the bliss is there all the time. It's there all the time. Somananda said that in his book Shiva Drishti, that every time we may have an impulse coming out of consciousness, the first impulse is the experience of bliss. So we're always looking for bliss in the world. But when you have the experience of the universal bliss, you stop looking at the small blisses and you enjoy, you bathe in the universal bliss.
Small blisses. Yeah, that's awesome.
The mini blisses. You know,
There are the mini blisses, aren't they?
the mini bites.
So Shah wants to know, he says, Swamiji says leaving the body and attaining God consciousness isn't the God consciousness, is all that there is to be. So then where's one to go?
There's nowhere to go when you become just like Shiva, because Shiva is everywhere. So in that moment, you are everywhere. You're in an eternal moment, which is all pervading. The Sanskrit words are vyapakata in the state of Shiva and nityata. All space and all time merge in one point of universality, which is beyond our comprehension if we live in the world of differentiation. But that's the experience of the yogi. Like Denise said to Swamiji once, well, Swamiji, you have thoughts. What did he say, Denise?
I don't think.
Yeah.
Remember what he said.
I don't think thoughts.
He said it's a flood of God consciousness. It's just a flood of God consciousness. And somebody once said, he said, I don't, when you ask me a question, I don't contemplate what my answer should be. It comes out from some other place. He said one time, he said, you think that I'm just sitting here in front of you, he said, but actually I'm somewhere above. Even he would laugh. He said, even I can't comprehend where I am. And he would, and then he would laugh at himself, and then he would just cover it over and say, "Isn't it time to take tea? What are we talking about this? You know?"
So Elroy says, I've always thought it was God who chose our prarabdha. Prarabdha? George, read it.
Yes.
Yes.
Prarabdha karma.
Prarabdha,
Yeah,
karma. When George mentioned that it's us who choose, does he mean the Purusha?
No, I mean the Puriyashtaka. In between lifetimes, Swamiji said, all of us realize when we leave this world, we go to wherever we're supposed to go to. One time he even said, someone asked, where do you go? He said, wherever you think you're going to go. Christians will go to heaven or go to limbo or whatever. He said, but generally you go wherever you think you're going to go. And it's determined, where you do go is determined by the deepest spiritual experience you had during your lifetime. He said, if you have a clear experience of God, even once in your lifetime, no matter what happens for the rest of that, like he said today, you know, that will be the point that you go to at the point of death. And you'll be taken to a place which is compatible with that experience. And he said that when you're coming back into the world, you get a chance to go to your own warehouse, look at all the karma you might have had for thousands of lifetimes, and select from that what you're going to bring into this lifetime. And that is, you get, and what you're going to bring in immediately, your prarabdha karma is your carry-on luggage. You have to live it. You can't avoid it. Even yogis, he said, cannot avoid their prarabdha karma. But we also have some check-in luggage, which is the kind of stuff that happens when that suitcase opens up and you're not expecting, and all of a sudden your world is turned upside down. You go, oh my God, how is this happening to me? But it's something you chose because you figured that if I can get through this in this lifetime, I'll be so many steps further along. But the idea of chronological sequence and everything doesn't really carry with Kashmir Shaivism, because John will tell you, what is it, John? Grace is not determined by anything from the past.
No, it's by God. It's God's freedom of will.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. That's the unique theory in Kashmir Shaivism, that at any moment, God's grace can descend. And in our puja, we have that third verse from Utpaladeva, you know, Shaktipada Samaye Vicharanam, that he said, I didn't choose to have this. You gave me this grace. It came out of nowhere. And now you withdrew a bit of it again. What am I to do now? That's it in a nutshell. But Swamiji's encapsulated into our Sunday puja the completeness of Shaiva philosophy in a very hidden, mystical way.
So there's one more question, but we're above the time, and I thought it could be something that we could bring back next week, because these are terms that come up again and again. And so Mr. Kastny says, what is the difference between Puriyashtaka, Antarkarna, and Ahamkara? And maybe we could go over these next week where they're written there, just to have a visual, because I think it would be helpful for people like me.
And
Yes,
briefly, they're all part of Puriyashtaka. They're all part of Puriyashtaka, and we can go over it next week. And just to finish off again, and a reminder about tomorrow for you guys, or today for you guys, if you want to do anything or think of Swami Ram, Swamiji, Swami Matakak, that's your choice, because we already did that today here in India and other places on this time slot. And tomorrow, Sunday, have a thought of those people who've passed. And as somebody pointed out, they did the Bahura Bhagava Stotra which is a really, I didn't even think of that, but I did it today, and I'd forgotten that that's what I did. But Bahura Bhagavad Stotra, and that's a very, very good thing if you have that text. But if you don't, just to sit quietly, have some thoughts for everyone. If you have a picture, if you don't have a picture, it doesn't matter. Just as Barbara pointed out, what if you don't have anything? What if you're riding on a bus, or as Al is in an aeroplane somewhere on the way back to the US, Alan Long? Just have those thoughts.
Perfect.
So,
Thank you, George. Before I say goodbye, just want to mention that Claudia is having her wonderful online free intuitive art class at 10 a.m. and she put the link up there. So if you haven't joined yet, join. It's wonderful hour of nourishing learning. So Claudia, mention anything, and thank you, everyone.
Yeah, I would like you to join me, and it's in an hour, and we'll just do some relaxing art. Thank you all. Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev, everybody.
Jai Gurudev.
Have a wonderful day.
Namaste